In this video, we are going to look at our second factoring method, which is grouping using the box with 4 terms. This is probably the easiest one, and it's the basis for the next method, which is using the box with 3 terms. So we have to make sure we understand this one in order to move forward. So we're going to use this anytime we have 4 terms. You're going to start by putting each term in the spot in the box. We'll talk about which ones go where. We're going to pull out the GCF of each row and each column. We're going to do a quick remultiply to check. And then we're going to write our answers as the product of 2 binomials. Basically, we are filling in the inside of the box. We are pulling out the GCF to get the outside of the box. And we write our answer, which is the 2 binomials on the outside of the box. So let's take a look at example 1. So I have 4 terms here. I'm going to start by drawing the box. And because this is the multiplied out version, this is the inside of the box. So I'm going to put my highest degree here, my lowest degree here, and the other 2, it really doesn't matter which one goes where. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each row and each column. So I'm going to look at these 2 and I'm going to pull out the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor there, 3 and 4, is 1. And then with the x, you always take your lowest exponent, so x to the 1. Then I'm going to look at this column, -6 and -8. First of all, they're both negative, so I'm going to use a negative there. 6 and 8 have 2 in common. They don't have an x in common. Now I'm going to look at the rows. So looking at this row, the 3 and the 6. The 3 goes into 6, so it's going to be 3. And then x and x squared, they are x cubed and x squared. They have the x in common. Smallest exponent is 2. And then I'm going to look at this row. And 4 and -8, 4 is common. Now, before I do my multiply, I do want to point out your signs, so your positives and negatives here, your signs are going to depend on the box that is closest to it. So see how this one's negative? That's going to be negative. This one's positive. That's going to be positive. Okay? These 2 here, you always want those to be positive. So if this one's positive, which it should be, these 2 are going to be positive. These 2 are going to follow whatever's in the box closest to them. Okay? Now I'm going to do a quick remultiply. 3x squared times 1x is 3x cubed. 3x squared times -2 is -6x squared. 4 times 1x is 4x. 4 times -2 is -8. So I know I did it correct. So all that's left to do is write my answer. It doesn't matter which one you list first. I'm going to do the 3x squared first, plus 4. So see, that's my first binomial. And then x minus 2. So when we were multiplying, I gave you this. You put it on the outside, filled in the inside, and gave me back this as your answer. I'm going backwards. I'm giving you the answer. You're giving me the question, like on Jeopardy. Okay, let's look at example 2. Again, 4 terms. So I'm going to draw the box. There is another way to do it, but I promise you the box is the easiest way. Highest degree goes here. Lowest degree goes here. The other 2, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to look at rows and columns. It doesn't matter which row or which column I do first. This time I'm going to do my rows first. So 2 and 1, that's a 1 in common. x cubed and x squared, the x is common. Choose the smallest exponent. Looking at the second row. 6 and 3, the 3 is common. It's going to be positive because this one's positive, the 6x. They don't have an x in common. Now I'm going to look at this column. 2 and 6, the 2 is common. X cubed and x squared, or x cubed and x, the x is common, the lowest exponent of 1. And then last, I am going to look at this column. 1 and 3, the 1 is common. They don't have an x in common, so it's just 1. I'm going to do a quick multiply to check. 1x squared times 2x is 2x cubed. 3 times 2x is 6x. 1x squared times 1 is 1x squared. 3 times 1 is 3. So my answer, again, it doesn't matter which one you put first. 1x squared plus 3. I'm just going to write x squared plus 3. And then 2x plus 1. Notice I didn't write that 1 because I didn't need to. I had the x there. I did need to write that 1 because otherwise there's nothing there holding my place. So that 1 right there has to be written because otherwise you've got a blank. And a blank is a 0. It's not 0, it's 1. Okay, so here I didn't need to write it because the x squared held my place for me. Here I need to write it because otherwise I'm leaving it blank. Okay, let's do one more together and then we'll finish the fourth one in class. Again, I've got 4 terms, so I'm going to draw the box. First term, highest degree. Last term, lowest degree. The other 2, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to go each row, each column. I'm not going to highlight them this time. I'll kind of point. I'm going to do this column. So the 2 and the 3 have a 1 in common. I have a y in common. Lowest exponent is 1. This column, the 4 and the 6 have a 2 in common. I'm going to use positive because the closest box is positive. They don't have a y in common. Then I'm going to do this row. 2 and 4 have a 2 in common. They have a y in common. Smallest exponent is 2. And then this row, because the closest box is negative, I'm going to do negative. 3 and 6 have a 3 in common. They don't have a y in common. Doing a quick remultiply. 2y squared times 1y is 2y cubed. 2y squared times 2 is 4y squared. Negative 3 times 1y is negative 3y. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So it all multiplied out correctly. Now I'm going to write my answer. 2y squared minus 3 times y plus 2. We'll do the last one together and go over it in class.